I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call to order the Wickliffe City Council meeting of June 23rd, 2025. Sandy, please call the roll.
Bell.
Yes, here.
Gerhardstein.
Here.
Jaworski.
Here.
Kosky. Here. Levon.
Here.
Saloto. Here. Thielman.
Here.
Approval of council minutes from June 9th, 2025. Councilman Gerhardstein.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from June 9th, 2025.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Bella. The council meeting minutes of June 9th, 2025 be approved as presented. Discussion? Hold on one second. I apologize. Could you guys retract those?
I rescind my motion to approve the council minutes from June 9th, 2025.
I've seen my second.
Okay. I'll make a motion to allow Councilperson Sloto from abstaining from the council meeting minutes of June 9th, 2025.
Second.
Moved by Council President Levon, seconded by Councilman Thielman to allow Councilwoman Sloto to abstain from voting on the council meeting minutes of June 9th, 2025. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bell.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kosky. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Okay.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from June 9th, 2025.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Bella, that the council meeting minutes of June 9th, 2025 be approved as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bell.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kosky. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Abstain.
Thielman.
Yes.
Reports and communications from the Mayor, Safety Director.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. So on Friday, Premier Development reached out to me, just wanted everybody aware they signed a 3-month lease with the possibility of 9 for trailers in the back section of the parking lot in the lower 1.3 acres near the railroad tracks on Warden behind the fire station. The area is zoned industrial and the trailers will be empty, and they just wanted to make sure we were all aware. Summer is here, okay, and kids are out of school, motorcycles are on the road. So please be sure to stay aware of your surroundings and be cautious of your speed while driving. Also remember, do not blow grass clippings onto the street. Thank you, and that's all I have.
Any questions or comments from the Mayor, Safety Director? Councilman Bella?
Mayor, are these going to be Amazon trucks again?
I did not put that on there. Yes, so this is gonna, this contract is with Amazon. So, and this will be the second time Amazon has wanted to do business with them, so.
In your mayoral opinion, is Amazon looking at that land for possibly, I mean, they're already running it twice. I'm just wondering if they're looking ahead a little bit.
So, my general statement is there's always a possibility, but the biggest thing is, they were interested in that entire campus 5 years ago. They did not want to deal with the demo, with the building on Euclid Avenue. And now that is being dealt with. And then I come to find out, in some talks with some people, that the Euclid Square Mall, before it became Amazon Central over there, they parked their trucks there. There was a deal made with to park the trucks, and then that happened. So I'm glass half full guy, and they're showing interest. They want to work in Wickliffe. They want to be here. So that's, I just see this unfolding. It unfolded in the past in Euclid. So I'm hoping.
Yeah, thanks.
Councilwoman Saloto?
So how long are they gonna rent?
So 3 months is the lease, but they could go up to 9.
Okay, and are there issues with that? I think that's a tremendous use of that space.
Well, I know it was a concern last time, and I just wanted everybody, kind of, to know, I guess, about it. And I didn't. So some residents complained to other. I didn't receive any complaints. So if anybody does, just let them know to me that who knows what's in the future. But to me, this is a great sign.
Yeah, I think so too. It's a great company.
Councilman Hartstein.
Well, first, it's on zone industrial, it's on commercial manufacturing. So that was going into committee tonight to straighten the wording out, since it was so vague last year, and the city prosecutor and the law director, the wording was so vague, so I was going to ask the council president tonight when we get to that part, about putting that into committee, because some of us council members got complaints about the depot, because it brings nothing into the city whatsoever. There's no tax base for that. So, but, I understand that, but I was gonna bring that in, but it is not zone industrial. It's zone commercial manufacturing, per the, zoning chart of the 2024.
So, okay, so when I was talking to Premier, they said they don't see why this is an issue. They said the word industrial, so I should have checked with you, but this was a permitted use, this, pre-existing, so they've done it. So are they grandfathered in if there's any legislation put in place?
Depends on if they have a lease in place at the time.
All right, well, I just want them to be clear with them, because they're, you know, they're very adamant they are allowed to do this. I mean, I spoke with their lawyers last time, right? And again, they're attempting, for what it's worth, they're attempting to do, to conduct business right now with this whole building demo and then the rebuild being on hold. So this is their way to make a little bit of money. So I do not see a problem, and people have no problems calling me to complain, and I did get a complaint on that. So that's
Why I was gonna put it in committee tonight.
got it.
So if council wants to change the wording, because the wording is so vague, and that it doesn't allow truck depots, it doesn't allow truck parking. And we went over this last year to a great extent, so it was going into committee tonight, so we could, if council wanted to clear up the wording to that part of it, council could clean the wording up to that.
So I can weigh in on that, because truck parking in a parking lot, to me, with nothing in it, I don't see where terminal or depot.
Well, that's why we were gonna put it in the
Okay.
committee to discuss that.
We'll discuss that later.
Councilwoman Sloto.
Thank you. I would just like to have us just look at this as a bigger picture, okay? So what are we trying to do with that plot of land? Obviously, we're trying to develop that piece of land so that it will bring in tax dollars, because a company is going to go in and put their business on that spec, in that spec building. So this has been an issue. I mean, we want to bring business in. So we're working with a company that is doing they're doing something for us. I mean, they're tearing down a building. And I think that's something that means something. And if they would like to, they're prospecting. I mean, they need to sell this property. So they need to make it into something someone's gonna want to use or purchase or rent or whatever they're gonna do. So if they want to bring in Amazon and do a favor to Amazon and lease Amazon some space for the time being, I mean, if you think big picture, that can only help us. I mean, why are we gonna go out of our way to try to step in the way of that? We get like so focused on small things instead of thinking of the big picture, I think sometimes. Sometimes I just don't understand what we're trying to accomplish.
Any other questions or comments for the Mayor, Safety Director? Thank you, Mayor. Reports and communications from Director of Law.
The only thing I have to report is just to let everybody know that letter F under ordinances, the sex offender residency prohibition, it has been amended to be on emergency. Just wanted you to be aware of that for when that comes up. It's not written on the agenda that way. Other than that, nothing else to report.
Any questions or comments for the Law Director? Thank you, Jeremy. Communications from Council President. I have none. Any amendments or additions to the agenda? Councilman Hartstein.
Council President, I have 3 amendments. First, I'd like to do 1151 fire limits.
We will add chapter 1151 fire limits to new business A.
House Bill 86.
Okay, we'll add House Bill 86 to new business B.
And trailer parking.
And trailer parking to new business C. Any other amendments or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, move on to administrators. Police Chief Bush.
Thank you, Council President Levon. The only thing I have to add to my report is that we did start advertising for the position of dispatcher, which we will have an open spot coming. It won't be until 2026, but we want to jump ahead and get somebody hired and trained before that dispatcher leaves. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments from the police chief? Councilman Hartstein?
Chief, are you looking for filling that last position in your departments for staffing for your patrolmen since we're halfway through the year?
I can look at lateral transfers right now. I haven't advertised for that yet. My list for the traditional way expires July 30th, I believe. And that list is exhausted, so I really can't hire anybody off of that list. So I have to wait until August 1st, basically, to give another test. At that time, I plan on giving another test once that list expires.
You're one short with the gentleman that's deployed, and then you're still one short
Correct.
altogether, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for the police chief? Thank you, Chief. Fire Chief Grossman?
Thank you, Council President Levon. I do not have anything to add to my previous report.
Any questions or comments for the fire chief? Thanks, Chief. Finance Director Hunter?
Thank you, Council President. We continue to watch House Bill 335, which seeks to eliminate inside millage. We're actually, of course, advocating against it. If this were to pass, for instance, this year we're expecting to receive at least $1 million. So this would be a huge impact on us. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the Finance Director? Thank you, Ms. Hunter. Engineer from Formica?
Thank you, Council President. I have nothing to add to my written report.
Any questions or comments for the city engineer? Councilman Jaworski?
Pete, is everything at this point in time lined up for early July for Ridge Road to be
Yes.
resurfacing?
Yes, we received one question from a contractor just last week about the stipulation on the specs, and ODOT is going along as planned.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments for the city engineer? Thank you, Pete. Service Director Kravchuk?
Thank you, Council President Levon. I have nothing to add to my report.
Councilwoman Koski?
I would like to know is, have all the playgrounds been mulched?
Not all of them. We did Orlando, and we did part of Featherston. We're gonna get another load. We're gonna do Nels, and then we're gonna finish off Featherston also.
And you're using wood, correct?
Oh, yeah.
All right, that's good. And then I have an unusual question that someone called me about. Tell me about the little friend that's behind the service department up here, the duck.
He's been around for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a couple residents donated those ducks a few years back, and we actually transport them in the summer to the pond, to Colby Pond, but they make their way back to the shed. It's like that's their home.
Oh.
They've literally been taken to the pond, and then they've come back there. They will not stay in there. They will not stay at the pond.
Oh, well, I only
There
saw one
was,
today.
well, there used to be 4. 3 of them didn't make it.
Aw.
So,
So someone's feeding him and everything?
oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was a little warm, so I was hoping his goose wouldn't get cooked.
He's got a little pond there right outside.
Yeah,
of
right,
his,
All right, thank you.
Councilman Hartstein?
Sir, I reached out to Pete, because he lives on Bridle Path also. I got reached out by a resident that lives on Bridle Path and wanted to know if the city could do something about the garbage trucks. The Circle used to have, Pete's lived there for a long time, the Circle used to have a split rail fence there, and now that the split rail fence is down, the garbage trucks are ruining that area in there.
Yeah.
Can you guys see if there's some way that, reasonable that we could, try to fix something there, either so the garbage trucks stop running through the grass?
Yeah, the hydrant was moved for us to bring that pavement further in, and we thought it was big enough. We were taking our big trucks around there, and we were doing it, we were making it just fine, but they're not doing their due diligence to stop from happening.
I just asked the resident, I told the resident I would ask to see if there was something you guys could do.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Thanks, Dave.
Councilman Jaworski?
Was your department who was technically in charge of monitoring, I guess I'm gonna say the tree launch for trash cans, the bins being out well after garbage day?
Yes.
Do you guys actually go around and, you know, after going up and down the streets, or is it kind of just a situation where the residents need to call in if they're seeing it?
Yeah, just residents call in, and then we'll go in and we'll either violation, or sometimes we kind of just, you know, put them like in their driveway and, you know, kind of, you know, get the hint that, you know, I'm not supposed to be out there and, you know, past those periods of time.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments for the service director? Thank you, Dave. Building Commissioner Sack.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I have just a few things. If you go down Lincoln, you'll see the first new house is framed up. It's coming along fine. Also, AOL sign is being installed today. And that's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the Building Commissioner? Councilwoman Koski.
Since you're bringing up OLA,
Okay, AOL, sorry.
no, online
Auction.
auction. So, when are they gonna be up and ready to go? Anybody know?
Yeah, they wanted to get a contractor to do that. They're repaving that whole road and that whole parking lot. They wanted to get the guy in June. They couldn't get him till July. They told me absolutely before August 1st. Now, I always say, take opening day with a grain of salt, but so far they've lived up to everything they said, so before August 1st.
It does look very nice down there. All right, thank you.
Any further questions or comments for the Building Commissioner? Thank you, Rick. Recreation Director, Stop.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just a couple comments. We had our second movie night last Friday. We kept waiting for the rain to clear, and it finally did. So we did have some people stick around for that, so I appreciate your support with that. Good news on the lifeguard front. We are pretty much there with having enough lifeguards between the extra certification classes that we've had on the weekend. The electronic signs were a good way of recruiting lifeguards, and a lot of arm twisting and really pushing people towards full-time. I can say that we're in a good spot right now, and you know, barring any major call-offs or sicknesses, we should have everything up and running. So that's it.
Tim,
Yes.
I know I spoke to you after the first Colby concert in the park. We really need to do a better way of advertising our concerts and any other events that happen in the city. Any ideas or thoughts of, I know we had to put in the connection, I know we put it on the signs. Any ideas of sending a postcard to every single resident with all the listing, all the events that we're gonna do, mail it out in May, and so that maybe, you can put a magnet on it, you can put it on the refrigerator or something. It was pretty discouraging to see only like 50 people at the concert at the park at Colby. I know the weather wasn't pristine, but you'd have thought a lot more people would have came out. A lot of people did tell me they didn't know about it. So we need to do a better job of advertising for these events if we're gonna, you know, going forward. Just some ideas, if you can think of anything, I would appreciate it. Any other questions? Councilwoman Koski.
So, I was wondering, I've been to the pool the last few days.
Yes.
And of course, it's very,
It's been very warm.
very busy, yes,
Yes.
very crowded. Is there a max capacity? Do we have something like that? Because I was told, like, Cleveland Heights, for instance, that people have to wait outside the gate till someone leaves.
We have enough square footage that I think at one time it was calculated at 400 people as the, capacity, so we are not near it.
I would be interested to know what the total number was for each day for the weekend, because I will tell you, I
It was full.
stood outside that pool and I was looking and watching, and it was just very difficult to, get a good eye on everybody. And then also I spoke to Becky and she said, well, all right, maybe that sounds like a good idea. Because it was so crowded, it was very loud. I suggested maybe we should have the old-fashioned megaphones for the guards, because there is no way anyone could hear a whistle or hear them yell. Absolutely no way. And there were, some people that shouldn't be doing certain things, like somebody's on someone's back and, they would not get any direction. So you know, maybe ask Becky if she'd be interested in having those by the guard chairs when it's busy.
Councilman Kowski, I was there on Sunday swimming, and I mean, I could hear the guards yelling at the kids to walk and stuff like that too. So they can hear if they're actually paying attention. But obviously, there's a lot of, you know, a lot of activity. You may be right that it might be something to get a little more vocal or use some kind of method of being louder. But I thought the guards did a great job there when I was
Oh,
there.
yeah, the guards
It was
do a great
200
job,
plus
but
people
there's
there
just
Sunday
so
afternoon,
many-
and it was a lot of people. I agree with
Yeah.
you, Mayor.
Yeah, so just to go back to the concert, so we've had concerts in the past where we had 200 plus people, and the band in tents has a pretty big following. And when I'm looking into booking these bands, that's what I look for. So our next band's Locante, which is supposed to have a huge following, so we can bring other people as well as Wickliffe residents. So I gotta think it was the weather, because for them, and just their people that come to see them, that was a low turnout. But it did pour at 9.
We have them on the electronic signboard right out front of the service department, so you get all that traffic, and, I mean, we're up for suggestions.
I love the postcard idea.
Yeah, mailing it to every single resident, so they can put it somewhere, so they put it in their calendar, you know, having it next to their phone or whatever, when they get it, they can insert it into their Google Calendar or whatever they use, right? I get concerned when we have these food trucks come in and they get no business, because we're never gonna get them again if, you know, it's gonna be very difficult to get a food truck into these concerts, right? Now, Wickliffe Forever does a great job of advertising for their Rock the Mansion, right? And I know they're a different entity, and they spend a whole year for one concert, right? As opposed to us for 3 concerts during the summer. But you know, the food trucks come out for that because they know they're gonna get business. I hate to see 2 food trucks come out and then no business happens, right? So, anything else, Councilman Jaworski?
Tim, just wondering, how's the golf course doing?
Golf course is doing well. We're a little bit behind last year's pace just because it's been wet. You know, we have had a little bit of a slower spring, early summer, but we're picking up, so it's doing good.
How's the overall condition though of the course itself?
It's good because we've had that rain, you know, so it has stayed a little green, and it's doing okay.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Thank you, Jim. I'll now open the floor for audience participation. If anyone would like to address Wickliffe City Council, please stand and state your name and address for the clerk's record. These meetings are being recorded. She has a microphone that needs to be used to make sure that it's heard over the internet. Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? If not, I'll mark audience participation closed. Committee reports. The Finance Committee met on June 16, 2025 at 7:02 p.m. The purpose, Stanley Steamer CRA, the Premier CRA, and the 5-year Capital Improvement Plan. Present, Bala, Gahartstein, Jaworski, Levon, Saloto, Thielman. Also present, Mayor Sakis, Law Director Iusu, Police Chief Bush, Engineer Formica, Service Director Kravchuk, Finance Director Hunter, Building Commissioner Stack, Recreation Director Stop, and Fire Chief Grossman. Mayor Sakis notified the committee that the Stanley Steamer proposed CRA was for 50% property tax exemption over 15 years. Councilman Thielman asked if Stanley Steamer's new building had gone through planning commission and was advised that it had. Councilman Gahartstein had no issues with the proposal from Stanley Steamer, as they have been a long-time business in Wickliffe and they want to grow and remain in the city. Thielman and Saloto agreed. The rest of the committee had no objection to the CRA proposal from Stanley Steamer and recommends that the law director create legislation for a property tax exemption of 50% of the increased value of the property over 15 years. Councilman Bala asked if this would be passed in emergency fashion for one reading. Council President Levon stated that it could. This item is reported out of committee. Sakis notified the committee that the Premier proposed CRA was 100% property tax exemption over 15 years. He reminded the committee that anything over 75% in 10 years needs school board approval. He mentioned that he had a recent conversation with Superintendent Specia, and the mayor was told that the school board would challenge this if it was approved by City Council. Council President Levon noted that in resolution from 2019, it mentions that the CRA should have a recommendation from the city's housing officer. He asked the administration who is our current housing officer and was advised that the city did not have one. Gahartstein followed up by asking who is on the Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council that is described on that resolution. Assistant Finance Director Ness advised that we have a list of 5 people, but are too short two spots that are to be appointed by the majority of the members of the CRA Council. He stated that CRA Council has not met to his knowledge. Thielman asked if Premier's new building had gone through Planning Commission and was advised that it had not. He advised that he wouldn't vote for a CRA without knowing what the proposed building would look like. Councilwoman Sloto agreed. Hartstein was not in favor of the proposal as a business description is vague. Bala stated that it would be difficult even if we passed it since the school board would be involved. Thielman advised that the council would be willing to review the proposal if it had more detail. He stated that he was not trying to be difficult, but wanted to make sure everything fits in the criteria of the area. He's concerned with the appearance of the building on Euclid Avenue. With no objection, Levon opened the floor for audience participation. Spencer Pazak of 29801 Euclid Avenue stated that they are early in the process and he understands the committee's concerns. He came to answer any questions the committee may have had. He advised that the front building will be torn down soon and to be competitive with other states or business opportunities, a CRA tax exemption is absolutely necessary. Levon closed audience participation. The committee recommends we do not approve the Premier CRA proposal at this time. This item is reported out of committee. Councilman Jaworski arrived at 7:13 as the committee started to discuss the 5-year capital improvement plan. Sakis thanked his administrators that were involved in creating the capital improvement plan. He expressed that we have a large quantity of projects and he wants our safety services to have all the necessary tools to do their job. But he doesn't recommend purchasing a ladder truck for $2.2 million at this time. Finance Director Hunter agrees with the mayor and stated we cannot afford it at this moment. She's concerned about the current proposed state of Ohio legislation to reduce the millage on property taxes, which would also reduce city revenue. Levon asked if this was first of many drafts. Hunter advised that it was and that the administration was planning on meeting again in August to take another deep dive into it. Bella asked when the state of Ohio had to pass their annual budget and was told by June 30th at midnight. Jaworski asked Hunter if she saw any changes to our revenue baseline each year. Hunter says that it isn't increasing much, maybe $500,000 per year at best. Hartstein stated that most of the increase is the taxes from paying our own employees. Hunter advised the cannabis tax would help. Hartstein advised he was a no for purchasing the ladder truck at a previous meeting, and he's still a no. Sloto questioned if all the projects listed on the plan were all the projects that the administration had planned over the next 5 years. Hunter relayed that we are missing some projects. She also stated that some of the costs are conservatively high. Hartstein reminded the committee that we had to reduce the amount of road projects this year as the proposed budget had a $1.5 million deficit. Hunter notified the committee that when we replace Euclid Avenue in the near future, we have to pay the $2 million up front and then be reimbursed. Bella stated the budget is too unpredictable and he is not in favor of purchasing a ladder truck now. Sloto agreed and stated that she was leaning that way as well, but wanted to know how we take care of the fire department's needs. She would prefer we postpone the discussion on purchasing the truck and not remove it. Fire Chief Grossman advised that his department will continue to utilize the current ladder truck as long as possible. Jaworski asked when the next vehicle purchase needed would be beyond the ladder truck. Grossman stated that we would need a new squad in 2035. Jaworski emphasized the need to work to regionalize fire vehicles with neighboring cities. Sakis noted that he has spoken to other mayors and they will always help our city except when their equipment is in use. Grossman advised that is an automatic agreement between neighboring cities. Hartstein asked if this was similar to the county hazmat truck that we store in our station. Grossman advised that it's different as it is county-wide. Hartstein stated that fire vehicle purchases are extremely impactful on local budgets and cities need to get creative. Jaworski asked if we do need another vehicle, is it possible to have a third engine instead of a ladder truck? Grossman responded that it in his opinion, is not the best to choose another engine over a ladder truck as it would shorten the lifespan between engine purchases. Jaworski thanked the team that put the plan together, but asked that the plan be broken down by department and year in detail. The committee decided it was best not to purchase a ladder truck at this time. This item will remain in committee. Meeting adjourned at 7:41, respectfully submitted. Committee of the Whole met on June 16, 2025. Meeting called to order at 7:42 p.m. Purpose, short-term rentals. Present Bala, Hartstein, Jaworski, Levon, Sloto, Thielman. Also present Sakis, Ayusu, Bush, Formica, Krawcheck, Hunter, Sack, Stop, Grossman. Building Commissioner Sack notified the committee that both Mayfield and Mentor passed ordinances recently to prohibit the renting of residential units for less than 30 days. He stated that he has served 6 to 7 cease and desist letters this year in our city to prevent this from happening. It is a drain on the building department. He recommends we adopt similar legislation. Councilman Bala asked if we could allow short-term rentals and instead punish leasees who have 2 or 3 violations. He believes there are good people that use short-term rentals. Councilman Gerhardstein agrees with SAC. He stated that short-term rentals bring no benefit to the city and are a strain on our safety services. Since other local cities are passing this type of legislation, we should do the same. Mayor Sakis understands the cons of short-term rentals, but acknowledged that we are in a society that has embraced Airbnbs over hotels. He stated Wickliffe has registration fees on short-term rentals. Councilwoman Saloto stated that short-term rentals in Wickliffe could be viable with our proximity to Cleveland. She thinks it'd be better to put rules and regulations around it instead of prohibiting it. SAC noted that if we do not pass legislation, that planning commission would have to provide a category for it, and the building department would need to provide occupancy permits for each individual rental, which could become overbearing. Councilman Thielen believes we should put something in our ordinances prohibiting it now, but be cognizant of potentially allowing them in the future, especially since the state of Ohio has legislation potentially allowing them throughout the state. Councilman Jaworski thinks that short-term rentals are a missed opportunity for growth of the community. We need homeowners and long-term renters. Thielen stated that our residents do not want neighbors daily. Council President Levon asked, which ordinance should our law director use as a template if we were to pursue prohibiting short-term rentals? Bala suggested the Mayfield one was more clear. Hartside agreed. Jaworski pointed out that since residential rentals are not in our ordinances, no ordinances would need to be repealed, like the case of the Mentor legislation. I also agreed. With some slight objection, the committee recommends that the law director create legislation to prohibit short-term rentals in the city of Wickliffe using the city of Mayfield's legislation as a template. This item is reported out of committee. Meeting adjourned at 8:02 p.m. Respectfully submitted. Any other committee reports? Any commissioner reports? Seeing no old business, moving to new business A, 1151, chapter 1151 fire limits. Councilman Gerhardstein.
So this issue came up last week. Fire limits, the fire limits was installed in Wickliffe ordinances in 1948. And it states that any building built within 200 feet of the center line of Euclid Avenue has to be built 100% waterproof and fireproof. This is a direct conflict of what council passed last year when we did all the rezoning and building codes on the Euclid Avenue corridor when we installed that. So it's no longer it doesn't come up again as a conflict. I would recommend that the council approves to eliminate. It's a chapter 1151 out of the ordinances. It is dated in 1948. It is a little outdated for what we're doing now. So I'd like to make a motion that the law director create legislation to remove chapter 1151 from the building department's ordinances.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Jaworski to authorize the law director to authorize the law director to create legislation to remove chapter 1151 from our ordinances. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bala.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Okay. New business B, House Bill 86. Councilman Gerhardstein.
Well, I misspoke when I started. It's
96.
not House Bill 86, it's Senate Bill 86.
Senate Bill 86, okay.
Senate Bill 86. Chief, you and I had this discussion. Would you like to explain what's on Senate Bill 86?
Senate Bill 86, it was passed by the Senate already. Right now it's in committee in front of the Ohio House, right now, and it will be voted on sometime, I'm not sure. Basically what 86 is it's going to combat the near marijuana stuff that we're having a problem with. So there's no laws right now that prohibit selling the THC, the lower levels of that. Basically, here's a recap of what the bill will do. It'll require intoxicating hemp products to be sold at dispensaries which only cater to customers 21 and over. It'll classify intoxicating hemp as anything inhaled or ingested with more than 0.5 milligrams of Delta-9 THC per serving, 2 milligrams of Delta-9 THC per package, or 0.5 milligrams of other THC per package. It wouldn't include lotions or topicals. It would tax those, the sales then at 10%. That money would go to the state though. It'll allow breweries, restaurants, and other licensed retailers to sell drinks with no more than 0.42 milligrams of THC per ounce. Individual servings would be capped at 12 ounces. And one of my biggest things for this is it'll criminalize driving under the influence of this product now, which it doesn't right now. There's no law against it right now. And then having open THC beverages in your vehicle. So those are the highlights of that bill. Councilman Garhartstein and I talked about this, and he, I believe, drafted a letter.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why when we have complaints about smoke shops opening up, this is one of the reasons why the smoke shops are open up, right, Chief, because they're allowed to sell this.
Yeah. We had that problem with the one, it was advertising that they were a dispensary, and we only have one dispensary in the city for marijuana, but this business thought they were a dispensary because they were selling this, and they were advertising as such. That has since been taken care of, and their sign had to come down. But they're one of many businesses in the city that are selling this product, a lot to kids.
So we work with the clerk, and we have a letter, a support letter for Dan Troy for when it comes to the House floor to vote on it. We have, if any members want to sign it, I have Sandy has done multiple ways. If somebody doesn't want to sign it, everybody has their own, or we can sign it as a group to support this bill when it comes to the House floor to pass. So whoever would like to sign it, we have letters for it. And if you don't, it's, everybody's personal opinions.
And that can be signed after the meeting, correct?
Yes.
All right, any other comments on the Senate Bill 86? Okay, move on to new business C, trailer parking. Councilman Hartstein.
I wanted to put this in the committee for one, just to clean up the language that's in our ordinances about parking lots and outdoor storage and semi-parking and truck depots. Our ordinances are too vague in this. There's no way, like last year, Councilman Thielen and myself both got complaints because we're on the north end about the trailers. We don't have an answer for them. So whatever way the council would like to go, if they want to clean it up and approve it, that's fine. But our ordinances don't really state about truck parking. And that's the reason I wanted to put it in there, so council can do what they want with this, but clean it up so it's easier to understand.
Councilman Thielen?
I'll agree with Councilman Hartstein. That area is zoned commercial manufacturing. It's not zoned industrial. And truck terminals are not allowed in that area. And I see this as a truck terminal. Okay, so then it's outside storage, not a truck terminal. Outside storage is not permitted as a business within itself. It's ancillary to another business operation. And basically, I'd be okay with a short-term lease or something like that, but I don't want us to approve outside storage without screening and truck terminals in commercial manufacturing. It's supposed to be in industrial areas. That's why we have industrial and commercial manufacturing. We have two different categories, right? So you have the least restrictive, a little more restrictive, and it just keeps going. It's a pyramid. And that's how it works.
Mayor?
Truck terminal is a facility where trucks are loaded and then unloaded, parked, and sometimes maintained. These are just empty trailers. So it's the trailers. Cars have things stored in them. These are empty, stored, nothing. And so I just think there's a little difference in truck terminal.
Well,
Councilman Thielen?
yeah, there's a nuance, so we need to clear up the definitions of what a truck terminal and what a trailer storage is. So that's all. We're just clearing it. The ordinance book has a big list of definitions, and we need to figure those out for the future.
Councilman Hartstein?
Well, even in the ordinances, and I can clarify this with Ray if he remembers, even an ordinance states parking lots are for the businesses that reside in the buildings that are there. There was no business that was using the trailers last year that's a business in that building across the street. So that, again, that's what I'm saying. It's not for or against it, but our ordinances are so vague, it needs to be cleaned up one way or the other.
Right.
Councilman Thielen?
If the business is outside storage, it's a storage yard, and that really isn't permitted in commercial manufacturing. And for that matter of fact, then, okay, the building comes down on Euclid Avenue. Theoretically, then, they could park trucks right there, right on Euclid Avenue, all day long. We would allow it then. I mean, I don't think that's correct. That shouldn't be allowed.
I understand, we can put it in committee and discuss it, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Any other on that topic? Anything else? Okay, I will put trailer parking into the committee of the whole. Okay, move on to ordinances.
Ordinance number 2025-27, an ordinance amending section 152199 penalty of chapter 1521 open burning of the codified ordinances of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio. This is the third reading.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Koski, seconded by Councilman Bella. This is the third reading. To adopt ordinance 2025-27 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2025-28, amended an ordinance amending sections of chapter 1323 fences of the codified ordinances of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio. This is the third reading.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Hartstein, seconded by Councilman Bella to adopt ordinance 2025-28 amended as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2025-29, an ordinance amending section 171.01 bonds of chapter 171 employment provisions of the codified ordinances of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio. This is also the third reading.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Hartstein, seconded by Councilman Bella to adopt ordinance 2025-29 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2025-30, an ordinance amending the city of Wickliffe zone map referred to in section 1341.80 of the Wickliffe codified ordinances, rezoning one parcel owned by Loretto Davis Lincoln LLC in Wickliffe, Ohio. This is also the third reading.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Hartstein, seconded by Councilman Bella to adopt ordinance 2025-30 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2025-31, an ordinance levying assessments for unpaid delinquent sewer amounts upon parcels of land in the city of Wickliffe, Ohio. This is also the third reading.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Saloto, seconded by Councilman Bella to adopt ordinance 2025-31 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2025-32, amended an ordinance enacting section 533.17, sex offender residency prohibition, in chapter 533, obscenity and sex offenses of the codified ordinances of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Hartstein, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2025-32 amended on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Hartstein, seconded by Councilman Bella to adopt ordinance 2025-32 amended as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2025-33, an ordinance providing appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio for the period beginning January 1st, 2025 and ending December 31st, 2025, and declaring an emergency.
Adoption.
Second.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Hartstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2025-33 on final reading. Third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Saloto, seconded by Councilman Bella to adopt ordinance 2025-33 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2025-34, an ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio, to transfer a sum of money from the general fund to various funds and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Bella, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2025-34 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to adopt ordinance 2025-34 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2025-35, an ordinance amending Chapter 769 Tourist Homes and Motels of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio, to include Section 769.04 Short-Term Rental Prohibition in a residential district and amending Section 769.99 Penalty and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2025-35 on third and final reading. Discussion? Councilman Bella.
Yeah, just one comment. I just don't like having the government tell you what you can do with your own house. That's all I'll say.
Councilwoman Saloto?
I'm gonna second that. I think this is really prohibitive, and I think this is short-sighted, and this is 2025. I think things are a lot different today, and I think we should at least consider this a little bit more before we are so harsh with respect to just banning it. So.
Councilwoman Kowski?
I understand there's been some problems, but, when I've gone out of town, I've stayed in Airbnbs or, VRBOs, and I think that, you know, if they're well taken care of and the occupants, are screened well, then there shouldn't be any problems. I cannot vote in favor of this.
Any further discussion on the suspension? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
No.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
No.
Levon.
Yes.
Soloto.
No.
Thielman.
Yes.
Suspension fails. You can go on to second reading. Resolutions?
Resolution number 2025-09, a resolution adopting the tax budget of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2026, and submitting same to the Auditor of Lake County, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Bella to suspend the rules of council and place resolution 2025-09 on third and final reading. Discussion? Councilman Gerhardstein?
I'll bring my discussion on the vote. I'll rescind that.
Okay. Any other discussion on the suspension? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to adopt resolution 2025-09 as presented. Discussion? Councilman Gerhardstein?
I'm not voting for this. I don't think it's fair the way the county set up the committee and who's on the committee that decided this. And I do not like the county demanding that they have control of our staffing in the police department for dispatchers.
I think you're on the wrong resolution.
I thought it said 911.
We're on 09.
Oh, I apologize. I have 911. I have 9. I don't have the one here. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's 09. Good.
I'll bring mine up. I'm sorry, Sandra. I'll bring that up. I don't have the one we're voting.
All right, any further discussion on the suspension? Any further discussion on the suspension?
So this is.
The adoption.
Adoption, I'm sorry, you're right, adoption.
It's a good thing
Got
someone's
you
breaking
all messed up.
Good.
Okay, Sandy, please call the roll.
Bell.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes,
Saloto.
Yes.
Sealman.
Yes.
resolution passes.
No way.
Resolution number 2025-10. A resolution accepting the Lake County final plan for the next generation 911 system and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Hartstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to suspend the rules of council and place resolution 2025-10 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bell.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Sealman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Hartstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to adopt resolution 2025-10 as presented. Discussion? Let's see if somebody else wants to talk. Councilman Hartstein.
So, I started on my, why I'm going to vote no on this. The cities of Eastlake, and I don't know if the chief might be able to elaborate on this. The city of Eastlake has also voted no, this resolution down because of the county's reach into demanding staffing. And so, Chief, would you like to elaborate on this before we vote?
Yeah, I'm asking you to vote not in favor of this resolution. The plan that they have submitted is restrictive, and they're requiring us to have 2 dispatchers at all time. I think I explained this last time, Lake County is the only county out of 88 counties in Ohio that chose to add 2 dispatchers. Every other county said, no, 1's good enough. This is intruding on home rule, if you ask me. So what's next? What's the county gonna say we have to do next, and we're gonna have to pay for it? So I think it's ridiculous what they're doing.
Any further discussion on the adoption? Councilman Thielman?
I'll agree. I'm not gonna debate if we need 1 or 2 or 3 dispatchers, but it's a home rule issue. Like, we should be able to have the right to say what we wanna have here, and the county shouldn't have the right to dictate how we operate our entity, so I won't be in favor of it.
Any further discussion on the adoption? Councilman
I
Jaworski?
just want to follow up with my comments at the last meeting, as I support the chief's stance on this, and no one should be telling us who we're employing or how many people we need to have in any positions.
Any further discussion on the adoption? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bell.
No.
Gerhardstein.
No.
Jaworski.
No.
Kowski.
No.
Levon.
No.
Saloto.
No.
Sealman.
No.
Resolution fails. Other legislation? Miscellaneous? Councilwoman Sloto?
I probably missed my chance to be here, so I don't know if we can do this, but I wanted to put something in committee. to
Sure, we
talk
can do that.
about, I don't know when we would be meeting on this, but
September, unfortunately.
to talk about, really restructuring the meeting concept back to giving some opportunity to an off-premise or, like, if someone can't be at the meeting, be able to call in and take part in the meeting, like we did during COVID. And I know some cities do it. I'm wondering if we can just at least explore the idea of doing it in the future.
We'll have to look at the law director to investigate it.
Yeah.
The previous law director said that it was legal in Ohio to do it remotely, to vote remotely. That's what he had mentioned to us.
Before COVID.
That was before COVID, but then they changed the rules back after COVID and said you had to be in the facility to vote, and you couldn't do it remotely. Law director?
So I know that there's some legislation in the state to revert back to allowing it. Last I knew of it, I knew there was a couple cities doing it, but last I saw it hadn't passed yet, but I'll look back into that. So by the time we're back in session, I will definitely let you guys know whether we can do that, and then you guys can discuss whether or not you want to.
I would appreciate us looking into it. I mean, as you all know, had some very tough times over the last few months because of my employment. And, this happened to me because of a company restructuring. I wasn't able to be here for a few Mondays, but this could happen to anybody. I mean, this is the reality of having, employment other than the city of Wickliffe or in the city of Wickliffe. I mean, you know, our employers sometimes make us do things that we don't necessarily wanna do. So to be able to call in, I mean, I was watching the meeting and couldn't take part in it every single time. I think, you know, we did it so well during COVID, and, you know, this is just something that could help every one of us if we can't be at a meeting for a particular time, so.
Understood. I was just under the impression, based on our previous law director saying that it was illegal, so, in the state, so we'll investigate that.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other miscellaneous? If not, I'll entertain a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Hartstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman, to move into executive session to discuss appointment, employment, or compensation of a public employee or official. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bill.
Yes.
Gerhardson.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski. Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Spielman.
Yes.
We'll take a 5-minute break.
Does anybody want that?
Oh, yeah, where's it? Do you have it, or?
Hamilton House, and something off of 271. Something 271,
Here, Jim, I'll give you both of them, and then that way if they don't, if everybody doesn't sign, we'll make sure yours goes. Maria, do you want?